Hi, Xavier. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you, Jason. How are you?
Xavier, we represent a lot of people who may have been in a situation where maybe they embezzled some funds or there's some type of fraud going on at work. And their bosses always have the same question, right? Like, how do they fix their culture going forward in order to kind of avoid these situations from happening again?
Yes, thank you very much, Jason. And it's an interesting example that you give because I've had the issue when I was running a business before.
Right.
So the question of culture is absolutely key. And I like to think of culture in three V's: values, vision, and vulnerability. So the first part of culture is values. Values are a handful of non-negotiable behavior rules that you want everybody in your company to live by. They anchor your culture. It's a little bit like setting a theme for a party. Imagine you throw a party at your house and there's no theme, and as a result, people behave in whatever way they think is best.
Right.
But now imagine the same party, but you throw you put a theme, say James Bond. So the message you're sending people is, I want you to bring your James Bond side to my party.
Oh, I see.
And people are going to adjust their behavior accordingly. Now, some people don't have a James Bond side, or they are not interested in their James Bond side, and that's fine. They just don't belong to your party.
Right. So, right.
Go ahead.
So from there, how do you instill that change into people and really get that across in terms of that's the way you're supposed to behave at this particular business or corporation?
Yes, absolutely. So the first step is to formalize these values and to formalize them in terms of behaviors, not in terms of high-level philosophies, but in terms of behaviors. Once you do that, the next step is the painful step, which is to lead by example. The culture in a company is often the reflection of the culture at the leadership team level. So once you have formalized your values, what you need to do is make sure that your leadership team lives by these values. And you will realize that very often it is not the case. So what I often ask my clients is for a month to practice these values as a leadership team, even before they communicate them to the team. Just practice and see how hard it is to live by them on a daily basis. Once that is done, then you can communicate them to the rest of the team with the message, we've gone through it ourselves. Now we live by them as a leadership team. I live by them as a CEO, and now it is your turn. So that is the first fundamental aspect, define the values. The second aspect is to define the vision. Vision is a key element of culture. And the vision has a...
So you were saying instilling culture.
Yes, indeed. So the second aspect of fixing your culture is establishing a clear vision. A vision defines where you want to get and how. And there are a few key elements here. The first one is, where do you want to be in 10 years? I like to start with a very long run. And which is basically the definition of success. In 10 years, if I achieve this, I will feel successful, which is different for every company and every leadership team. For some people, it is about money. For other people, it is about impact. For other people, it is about working less, whatever. Now, once you've defined where you want to be in 10 years, it is a bit like defining which mountaintop you want to achieve. You can see it in the far distance. You don't really know how to get there, but once I get there, I will be very successful. I will feel successful. The second aspect of your vision is your 3-year plan. Where do you want to be in 3 years, and how do you get there? It is a bit like your altitude camp. You don't know how you will get to the top of the mountain, but you do know very well how you will get to your altitude camp. And you also know that once you are there, you will have a much better view on how to get to the top of the mountain. So there are two key questions with regards to the altitude camp. First, where do you want to be? So what are your objectives in 3 years? And what is your strategy? So how will you get to your objectives in 3 years? And from there, moving backward, we identify the objectives at the end of next year, so in 1 year from now. And then comes the most important aspect, which is what are the key priorities, 2 or 3 priorities that you are going to work on this quarter or next quarter in this case. The 2 most fundamental aspects of this vision are, number 1, the key priorities for next quarter, 2 or 3 key priorities that as a company we want to accomplish, and number 2, your 10-year vision. Everything in between, the 3-year plan, the 1-year plan, everything is destined to help you identify the right priorities every quarter. And quarter after quarter, gradually, slowly but surely, you move towards your 3-year goal, which is going to move you closer to your 10-year vision.
Now, Xavier,
so that is just,
yeah, sorry, I was just gonna ask you a follow-up question. Is that what you provide people with your business coaching? Is that kind of the standard route that you go with, or is there a lot of different things that you do with your business?
So I do a lot of things with my business, but helping my clients establish a clear vision and clarify their values are part of what I bring indeed. Typically, many leadership teams don't have these conversations about values or about vision because they are so focused on the day-to-day stuff. Right. And it works for a while, but at some point you reach a bottleneck and you just cannot move around that. Right. Because you need to clarify these things. And having these conversations is not always easy because as a leadership team, I mean, you want people to get along together. But these conversations are sometimes painful. You have disagreements. And that's why having facilitated conversations with tools to be efficient and fast and to the point can be extremely helpful.
To create a clear vision, like you talked about, right? To make sure that everyone's on the same page, and that's beautiful. So, so when should people be calling you? When do people call you to try to help them through their issues?
So, I'm a business coach, and I work with CEOs and founders when they are frustrated by the way the company is growing. So, in many cases, they have grown successfully in the past, and now they have reached a plateau, or they are going to reach a plateau. And it drives them crazy because they know they can do better, but somehow it feels like the recipes from the past don't work anymore. Right. They don't really know why. And that's when they call me. What they notice is they spend a lot of time fighting fires, dealing with day-to-day dramas. They sometimes have a clear vision themselves already, which is great, but it looks like their team is not executing on this vision. They're too much focused on the day-to-day stuff, and they themselves don't have much time to focus on the right priorities to grow their business. So in short, they feel stuck. And the fundamental reason why they are stuck is their company has outgrown their management approach. So what I do is I help them adjust their management approach so that they can get back on track to profitable growth.
Perfect. Well, Xavier, thanks for coming on today. Let's have you back again soon. These are invaluable tips. They're fantastic.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me, Jason.